What's up, traders? The 23rd of December. We're going to take a look at Casper/Tether this morning. This will be a daily chart. Gate.io will be the data here. TradingView.com will be what you see on the screen right now, the charts. So Casper currently down 1.64. Man, we've had a nice couple days off of that big red candle down there, which is so far the bottom. So that candle I'm referring to would be on the 18th of December, and we've had 4 up days in a row. Yesterday being up 2.96, call it 3%, and we're getting a little bit of a reversal after another high today. So let's look to the left of the chart, just a couple days. You can see when we get into this zone, it's roughly like the 4384, give or take. You can see all these candle wicks, all of these candle wicks up in there, up into that price, and then obviously pull back. So today is no different. We got up into that level. Looks like today's high was 4434. So there is some resistance above the market, guys. And I'm going to leave this. Well, we'll go back to that. So this area up in here, basically where we're trading at now, lots of resistance up in there, going back from October of 22. This whole head here from, let's see here, about May, give or take, of 23. And then we got really back up into that zone in early December. So if we look left on our chart, I have it highlighted here in this box. This is all above the market. So the chart's going to zoom in there, but that's all of this area here. So I've talked about this in the past. The lower end of this box is and was, or I should say was support. Now it's got flipped into resistance. You can see the market tried multiple times, like we just talked about, to break back into this price range, which would be up in here. You know, it tried over in here in the October 22. It tried in May of 23. And just about got up there early this month, December of 23. And then it got pushed back down. So it's important to keep things like that in mind as price starts to approach areas like that, especially the first time around, which would have been in the October of 22. There's a good chance that when price gets up into that area, at least for the second time or so, that's going to be the top, and then the markets are going to pull back. So if you were buying, no, we'll get back to what's happening today, but let's take a quick look left. If you were buying in June of 22, and you had this nice rally, let's see what that was on a percentage return. Call it like from there to there. So call it 100% return, and you see the market starting to approach what was support, got broken very strong, and it's starting to back test that and potentially turn into resistance. If I was trading on support and resistance alone, I would be looking to offload my position, knowing that there's a good chance that even if the price does break back up into that area, which is now going to be turned into, or there's a good chance into resistance, it's a good area to take your profits. Because if you didn't, market came all the way back down basically where you bought, and then you would have had to wait, until, call it February of 23, to kind of get back, 80 to 90% of what you were up, roughly 100%. So there's also something else on that, and that is when markets test areas multiple times. So we have the first time here, like I just said, in October of 22, second time in May of 23, and now the third time in December of 23, early December. At some point, the more times markets test an area, they keep kind of pushing, they keep kind of nudging, eventually you'll get a break into that zone. Usually very, very strong. So that's what we could be in for next. We already had the 1, 2, 3. That fourth test could be a very strong candle or multiple candles. Doesn't have to be one into this range up in here. So we'll see what happens, but that's what I would be looking for. And we don't know when it's going to happen, but the more times markets test areas like that, we'll get a very strong break into that zone. So let me try to get this chart to not do what it's doing. So here's an example of that to the downside. So we had the initial sell-off here back in 21, some rallies, another test of that low right here in 22 of March. So we have the initial low in July of 21. We finally got back to test it in March. We rallied, and then on the third time, which is right in here in May of 22, where it's going to test that original zone, 1, 2. The third time is when it gets that massive, massive break to the downside. So we just fast forward to where we're at today. If you flip that chart on its head, we have 1 test, 2 test, 3 test. That fourth test could be the one that really breaks back up into that range and leads to a higher and hopefully a whole new trading zone and range for Casper. So that is obviously a very zoomed out look. And, that could take months, that could take weeks, it could take longer than, it could take years. Who knows? It depends on the overall market health. But right now we are reversing. We'll see. This just could be, a couple days, and then we start to build once again this right side here and higher. So that's kind of that, guys. Let's take a look at Bitcoin. That's just my thoughts on Casper and what's going on here. Let's take a quick look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin down 450. Looks like a little bit earlier it was down in the $300 range. Let's clean up this chart here so we could see. Hope everybody's doing well and has a great holidays coming up here. Once again, not too much has changed here. We are at a very critical zone here for Bitcoin. This is either the lower high, and this thing's getting ready to drop like a rock into another lower low, which is probably going to take us down to 38,601. I mean, we are right there. Or it's getting ready to put a very strong bullish wave right here, higher like that. So it's right there on the edge of something big coming, in my opinion, guys. So keep your eyes on this. Either way, it's probably going to be big. So let's see if that can play out. If the bullish side plays out, we obviously have some upper targets up here would be like 47. Let's see, 47.7, 47.5, give or take. Right now we're at 43. And then up here in the 60s, like 62,000 would be another nice big target up there. That's to the upside. So like 47.5, 62. And then to the downside, if we get a strong break to the downside, like definitely the first stopping point I would be looking for would be like 38,601, which is this area below the market, this yellow line on the chart. So we'll see what happens. Let's see if the markets are quiet heading into the holidays here, heading into the new year, or are they going to move the markets when people are not paying attention as much as they normally would because the holidays. So Bitcoin is at a critical moment right now. Like I said, I think it's in for either a big break higher or a big break lower. So far, it's a lower high, so that's a concern if you were a bull in this market. But it also hasn't shown its cards as it's starting to move to the downside with any momentum. It's just kind of hanging out there, but it hasn't put in a new high yet. So let me know your thoughts on Casper. We'll see. And let me know your thoughts on Bitcoin, the overall market. You guys have a great holiday. Thanks for watching. Thanks for another great year here on the channel. If you are not yet subscribed, go ahead and join us. I'll catch you in the next one.